Where we go. Hollywood Matt Connelly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hollywood Matt Connelly Live with Hollywood Matt Connelly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. We are appearing on camera right now with a special guest today. It is none other than the president of the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation. It is Phil Rasmussen. How are you today, my friend?
Mr. Connelly, doing well, thank you.
Aha. Well, you have just come off the back of a couple of very big events here in Australia. Up in Queensland, you had the Over the Top 2 tournament, which was a $10,000 first prize. You had people from all around the world coming and attending that. Then you followed that up last weekend with the Nationals, the AAF National Tournament for here in Australia as well. So very big things happening in the last couple of months for AAF.
Mate, this would be the biggest year, I think, ever. It was massive, honestly. It's still a blur. You know, we've sort of finished the events for the year now with Nationals, but, I mean, we were in Bulgaria 2 months ago, or 2.5 months ago for the World Championships with the whole team of it in Bulgaria while we did all the WAF stuff over there and competed. Then we came back and did Over the Top. And then 4 weeks later, we're at Nationals. Been 3 really, really big events back to back, which was a huge undertaking. So I'm amazed we did it, and I'm amazed that it all worked out seamlessly, to be honest.
Absolutely. Bigger and better from the first Over the Top I've heard as well.
Well, we missed you there, Matt. It's a shame that you and Dave, I know Dave couldn't come up for personal reasons, but you guys would have loved it. It was, I stood back a few times and just observed the room from the back, and I just had a big smile on my face. Like, it just looked really, really cool when you're in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it was on the cards, but yeah, I was in America until probably 2 days before I got back, and then it was like, well, do I want to get another plane and fly away again? It was like, I just got home. My kids are like, you can't be going again. So yeah. But no, it looked like a tremendous event. You had the 4 tables running, and Tom Ugacia did a tremendous job of recreating that stage that we see in the movie, the Over the Top Stallone movie. And you had a whole fleet of competitors from all over the place coming in and giving it their best. We saw amazing matches throughout all of the weight classes, and then you topped it off with the open class division with the $10,000 first prize, and all the heavy hitters were in there from this whole side of the world, I think. And we had a few people from the Northern Hemisphere coming through as well. Special guests of Devon Larratt and his family attended too, and we saw Auden and Milo competing. Did Jody compete as well?
Yeah. Jody did compete. In fact, they all did. Haybury jumped in as well. So they all jumped in. And so, except for Devon. Devon, of course. But Devon did his fair share of arm wrestling over the 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so the great thing was seeing the group chat that we've got for our club just filling up with photos of everyone. So everyone got the same photo, but it's with Devon.
Just wants to get a pose. Yeah. Yeah. Look, the staging, like you said, you touched on, did, and there was a photo getting I think maybe the Spartans had shared it, but someone had done a comparison of the 1986 movie from the sort of top-down shot, and then also the 2025 Over the Top 2. And you almost couldn't, apart from quality, the poor quality of the 86 event photo, you couldn't pick them apart. It looked, thematically, it looked perfect. The octagonal staging, the colors, the tables, the paint matched, and Tom would watch the movie repeatedly. I remember Tom in the lead up to this, and he was that final sequence in Vegas where he's looking at the colors, the legs, the alternate pads, everything, like all that detail. Tom took that all in. The numbers on the overhead over the tables. All of that was as accurate as you could get. And look, there's been other comps around the world. I've seen Over the Top is being run. There's one in Germany, and a few people just use the name, I think, just to get a little bit of extra credibility for their event. But no one, I don't think anyone's ever done it to the degree that we have at the Australian version.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was tremendous. As you said, I mean, it looked like you'd stepped onto the movie set in a lot of aspects. And that would have been great for the competitors, who were fans of the film or fans of arm wrestling, and to have that nostalgic feel to go in there and be like, oh my God, like you wouldn't be surprised if Stallone was on one of the tables when you walked in.
No. Or you saw Bull Hurley with a blaster shirt on, standing up there. It all looked, apart from the 80s up, everything else looked bang on to the event. So it's kind of created this theme now that maybe we should do Over the Top every couple of years or every 3 years. We need a bit of spacing between them because it's a massive undertaking. And when you can ask Franch and you can ask the Hamza and the SA guys that was there. It looked incredible, and that's a lot of that. We went all out on the venue. So Star Gold Coast, their main ballroom is absolutely world class. They hold, Logies and AV production in that room is incredible, and everything from the catering to the audio visual, everything is top notch. And you sort of felt that when you're in the room, and I think that the general consensus felt like a really high end, probably even more energy than an East versus West. East versus West has got great production value, but it's not got a lot of it in the room because it's a super match, right? Whereas this is like there's 4 tables running at all times, and there's action happening wherever you look, and there's people cheering, and the crowd was, I think it was 520 in the crowd, so it was a significant crowd as well. You didn't see any dead space when you looked around.
Absolutely, I felt sort of sorry for Jake Ward, trying to keep up with 4 different tables for like 14 hours straight.
He's got a voice. Jake did an incredible job, just staying on the mic, things entertaining. It's easy you get tired. You've got a certain amount of energy in your battery for a day, and the day starts well before you get up on stage. And for Jake to do that and continue to maintain that energy all through the finals, his voice was cracking, and obviously that was there, but he still kept the energy up right till the very end. So I'm so impressed with Jake for doing that.
Oh yeah, he's the best in the business for that sort of thing, and he did a tremendous job on the day. And yeah, as you said, I mean, 4 tables running. It was very, very hard to keep up with all the action that was going on. You're looking at one table, they're setting up, and then you hear somebody yell, and you look over there, and then you've missed this match here, and it's like, And so it was sort of one of those things you had to really dial in on which matches you wanted to watch.
Like the camera angles we had were great, but I think for the next one, we have 4 independent camera running on the table, so you could stream whichever table you wanted, because generally, you've got 4. You're going to have good matches happening at the same time, and we try and give direction to the camera guys to say if there's a top tier match happening, then always focus on that. But as top tier matches start happening simultaneously. Absolutely,
yeah. Were you surprised with the? I know you're back now. Yeah, were you surprised with the result? We saw Mario Tambakas doing a phenomenal job getting that second place, and Mato Arangi Hetamoras from New Zealand getting the top prize this time, but Lachlan Adair not able to repeat his win from the previous event. Was that a surprise to you at all?
No, look, I knew Lockie had an injury and had gone into surgery. Or was going, he had one probably a month or 2 before. So Lachlan wasn't in his over the top one shape. There's no doubt about that. But Lachlan Adair's always strong. Like his base level of always super high. It was that case from the moment he sort of came into the sport. So Lachlan jumped in. I think he put out a reel or Hannah put out a reel where he wasn't going to compete. Walked in, and then he saw the venue and he saw how cool it looked, and he goes, "All right, that's it. I'm competing." and I think that was the case with a few who were like, "No, I'll just come and watch." And then you get lured into it. Like the energy and the excitement is so much. You're like, I have to jump in.
Oh, absolutely. I had the exact same experience with Chance Shaw over in Florida. He was injured, and this was his first tournament that he'd come just to watch. I said, "Oh, you see, you're competing today?" No, no, I'm just here to watch. And then 10 minutes later, he's there winning the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Hey, arm wrestling is infectious, right? We all are in the sport. You know, whether you're a referee or everyone sort of comes into it from the arm wrestling angle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always like the people that come along to training and they go, "Oh yeah, I'm just coming along for the social atmosphere. I'm not going to get on the table." And then five minutes later, they're there like, "Ah!"
Yeah, yeah.
Always one of those things. And I say to people like, you can't be in this room and you won't feel that pull to get up on the table, even if you're just a friend of somebody that's come along. Like you'll probably end up on the table at some point. I love that about the sport, that it's
Well,
that
yeah. And then, look,
accessible,
the
that easy for
afterpulse.
somebody to just go.
The afterpulse were going the whole time, Matt. Like, I mean, we had Arm King had probably 3 tables in the afterpool section, and it was nonstop. And so as soon as Devin went over there, it was people were lining up, and Devin didn't leave that section for hours. It seemed.
Yeah, he did the same thing. Well, it was 6 years ago now. The first time I really had a go at arm wrestling was with Devon. He was doing a tour of around Australia and giving seminars. And he did the same thing there. It was probably 30 people that came along, and he spent 4 hours nonstop on the table, just holding every single person and going, "Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he gives you hope. Devon's great at giving people hope, gives them the advantage, lets them get in their favorite positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would have been a great experience for a lot of people that competed to have been lining up against somebody like Auden Larratt or Milo Larratt, or for the women's division, you've got Jody stepping in as well, and it's sort of like, well, I wouldn't get this experience any other time unless you travelled over to Canada or to another section of the United States where they happened to be competing, but to get all of them competing at once was pretty special.
Yeah, I don't know the last time they would have all been on the table at the same time. Like at the same anyway. They've done nationals and they've done other provincial comps over there, but to have Devon as well cheering them on. He's there giving his boys coaching advice on the side. He's coaching Haybury, he's coaching Jody, and it was lovely to see the family as a unit, all supporting each other in each class they were. That was really, really cool.
Absolutely. Did Team Uzbekistan make an appearance again?
No, visa issues.
Oh. Yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah, we had the same thing.
I
with,
went through the ringer with that. Yeah, yeah, I went through heaps of pain. They got it. See, the stupid is they all got approved 3 years ago. The athletes, Olimov and the coach, all of the pretty much the same team composition. They're all approved. They all left when they said they'd leave, accommodation, etc. Around, they all got denied, and then I had to go through a process where I paid extra to try and get them prioritized. That got denied. I finally got through to some human beings on the visa line, and they just can't give you any useful information. It's like it's so frustrating, and I gave so much. They'd set the precedent years ago that they came and they left, and they had all their bookings done this time, accommodation, what the Australian government was looking for, or what the reason for, but they did it 3 times in a row, and I just gave up in the end.
Wow. Oh, yeah, it's so frustrating that athletes can miss out on opportunities that they've worked their whole life for, or because of the decision of a pencil pusher, or even just an automated process, which can deny somebody based on their location or based on so a whole different bunch of factors. But it's like, Yeah, we had the same issues when we were bringing guys. We were trying to bring guys over from India to compete here in one of our events, and we had three guys, all three visas denied, like the same thing. And one of them was Masahir Saidu, who doesn't even live in India. He lives in Dubai. So it was very strange that we weren't able to facilitate that. But it seems to be like one of those difficult things. Like if you're traveling abroad, I guess it depends on which nationality you are. I mean, if you're a Russian athlete at this point in time, you're probably going to have a lot of difficulty getting anywhere, competing anywhere, because of restrictions that are put in place from other governments. I know Rickard Borman had to go through some hoops to be able to get a visa to compete over in the United States, even though he's from South Africa. So there's a lot of difficulty in that.
Yeah, look, the Indian one also, I had a lot of Indian athletes try and come to over the top. So the problem with India is that they all come one at a time and apply. So they'll message me on social media or WhatsApp and say, "Sir, I want to compete." And then I ask them, "Have you competed anywhere internationally before?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, straight away, you're going to get denied. So what I did find out was that if you have no history abroad at international competitions, that's going to weigh negatively on your assessment. The people, because they look at that and go, well, this person has no history of arm wrestling. We don't trust that their intention is just to come and arm wrestle. And that's what they're looking for, right? They're obviously looking for people who come, get their visa, and then don't depart. And they can have a return ticket, but that doesn't mean they're going to get on the plane, right? So that's ultimately what they're looking for with these denials.
Absolutely. We've got a comment here from Salvatore, who is one of the members of the SA Titans here. He says, "Hey Phil, all South Australian guys appreciate your work. Any thoughts on entangling national level super matches or matches could be an Australian puller with future over the top 2 events?"
Salvatore is a great guy. Salvatore, hello, buddy. I met him at the event, obviously, but at the after party, there was always a party. These things, Matt, you know that. And somehow Mario Tambakis is always at the center of it. But Salvatore's a super cool guy. Same with Danny, Grant. Really enjoyed catching up with all the South Australian guys. Arsh as well. Great pullers. So the question, let me just understand this. At over the top 3, let's say, you want to have super matches there as well, in addition to the main tournament.
I believe that's what he's asking. Yeah, he says entangling national level super matches or matches with future over the top events.
Maybe international. Look, the thing is, over the top is, I don't know why you would want to take a super match at over the top against somebody else that you could pull any other day against a tournament that happens every 3 years that has a huge amount of money and a huge amount of that goes with it, and everyone will be top draw. I don't know if anyone's going to want to jump or not go in the draw so they can have a super match on the side. I don't know what the benefit of that would be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it works well as a tournament, and that's the focus of the day, and it's a tribute to the movie, the Over the Top movie, and it's a recreation of that. And it's so amazing to see that it is, what is it, 30 years, 40 years later from the film, that it's still being talked about and still such an iconic part of the sport.
I will add as well. So is that cutting out these web browser based streaming, Matt? The browser always does funny things with these things. Is that still clear?
We're still, we're all good, mate.
Okay, cool. I will add though that the big reason for over the top as well. Yes, it's a throwback to the movie. Big double elimination, big exciting double elimination tournaments do not seem to happen much anymore. You've obviously at WAF, but that's not an exciting tournament. That's that's the actual amateur going through qualification to get gold medals. It's serious, right? Over the top is a heap of fun, and it reminded me of Zloty Tour. So, I had this chat with Tom. He first did over the top, and even Devon. The Zloty Tour excitement. I remember staying up all night to watch Zloty Tour when the open class happened at Zloty Tour, and you would get Suplenkov against Brzenk. Then you would get Pushkar versus Zoliov. Then you get Jerry Cadaret versus Rustam Babiev. You just getting a mix of weight classes and all the top. See these matches happen before. Oh, Pro Punja League. is that Parvin?
It may be Abhishek Singh. Yeah,
Could be Abhishek. Hello, Abhishek, if that's you, my friend.
Yeah. Always good to see you, Abhishek. Hope things are well with Pro Panja. And it was funny because we did catch up over in Mumbai. Was it last November or something? You happened to be there on holiday. I was there for what was supposed to be the Pro Panja League, which ended up getting delayed. But yeah, it was a really unique experience to be like, oh yeah, let's catch up. Let's do it in India.
I know we were in the back streets of Bandra, and I think I was trying to get you to have some street food, some pani puri.
Yeah,
and you were very.
I was. I've had food poisoning before, and it is a horrendous experience. So I was very much avoiding anything that may possibly lead to that result.
Look, the water. Be careful with the water, but I mean, I've been many times over the last probably 6 years. I've been there. Probably spent more than 9-10 months in India, and I've been sick, I think, once at the very start, and not food poisoning at all. So, yeah, I think just being a little bit careful. But I mean, India is a great place, and we're doing a lot of cool things with India. I've got great relationships with PAFI and with Pro Panja, so looking to do some. We're trying to build that collaboration between Australia and India, especially into next year, and especially with the World Championships happening in Delhi.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be massive. And are you now one of the the vice presidents or something for WAF, or did you get on the board of WAF or something like that?
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me.
Yeah, I'm one of the supposed evil seven on the WAF board. So, but no, WAF is. I got in. I was there, and we had Congress where all the countries are up to, and they have their continental vice presidents. So Africa, Asia, Europe, North America. Who am I forgetting? Oh, South America as well. So you've got your continental presidents, but there's Oceania was free, and I did have that position many years ago briefly, and I sort of knew that in the Congress they might bring this up as a hey, Phil Rasmussen's in the Congress again. Let's bring him back as vice president for Oceania. And look, it's a big honor for me. I think particularly because I've got a voice now on the committee of WAF, and because being at the World Championships and seeing how big it has gotten. It was 1,520 athletes at WAF. This year will be bigger in India. I'm sure it'll approach 2,000. And the level of competition was incredibly high. I mean, all of the superstars were there and were back. And look, the pathway to the Olympics through WAF. And if I can have any influence in a positive way on that, give 7 years' time, even better.
Yeah, that's tremendous. Hearing a lot of sort of buzz and talk about that, people wanting to push the sport into that realm and seeing it as a way to elevate people's understanding of the sport, or giving it a higher profile because maybe they've never realized that arm wrestling was actually a competitive sport and how it works and all the rest of it, and that could be a great way to expose it to an enormous audience. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, look, in India, I think all eyes will be on India next year, because if Pro Panja has shown us anything, it's that they know how to put on an entertaining event, and they know how to pull crowds, and they know how to keep it entertaining. They will take the production, the knowledge they have, industry contacts, and their business acumen, which, Paravan and Preeti are very well respected. And we've all Pro Panja. I don't think any great mystery that's going to prevent next year. And I would encourage as many of the Australians, particularly the ones at nationals over the weekend at the highest level.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, not only would you be entering a competition with a whole stack of elite arm wrestlers, but you get to meet so many different people. You have a new experience of traveling to a different country, experiencing that different culture. But the arm wrestling community that from around the world that I found, everyone is helpful, welcoming, wants to make sure that you're looked after, that you have a good time. No matter where you go in the world, it seems to be, if you're an arm wrestler, that there'll be some other person you could contact and they will help you out and give you the shirt off their back if they could.
Yeah, it's the best community. It really is. And anyone who's got India, I've had a few guys, I'm a bit concerned going to India. I'm like, don't. You will be treated like a when you go to Delhi, and where the teams stay. You know what the most worlds is, they have, I mean, in Bulgaria at Albina, they have all of the hotels in a big circle. So this was just for this year's WAF, but each of the hotels is in a ring, and then you have one hotel. We were in the hotel with Georgia, Turkey, Ukraine, Japan, and so they're all in the lobby. And you see all the team shirts and all the team contingents there. And then at night, you go out and have drinks with these guys and you meet them and you swap shirts and you arm wrestle. That was the most fun for me, right? I would always be doing my sort of duty during the day and in the evening presenting medals. But the whole time I'm thinking, I just want to get back to the hotel because I know Tom and Dimmy and Jacob and Red are all arm wrestling the Japanese team or the Ukrainian team and getting their shirts and having just bonding between countries, which I thought that's what we go there for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see it every time. Most people will actually say, like, I can't wait for the after pool. I'm more excited about the after pool than the actual event.
Yeah, no, exactly.
We've got a comment here from Abhishek Singh of Pro Panja League. He says that he's looking forward to welcoming the Australian contingent, and hopefully we do get a lot of Australians that do want to compete over there. It is a fantastic trip, and New Delhi, yeah, as you said, I mean, you do get treated like a rock. I mean, if you're I would go out and stand on the side of the road, and within 30 seconds, I had people coming up wanting to take a, and they did as an arm wrestler. When somebody looks different, and then because one of them would want to take a photo with you, the other people thought it was, and then it was like.
Well, you are a big, tall, jacked guy as well, Matt.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw you at India.
It was a good...
You stick out. You sort of head and shoulders above most of the populace there. You've got that Chris Hemsworthy kind of look about you, so I can see where they're like, this guy must be a movie star or something.
Little do they know. We've got a great comment here from one of the superstars
Neil Pickup
of arm wrestling. Absolutely, Neil Pickup, the supernatural himself. He says, "Good to see an Australian driving force like Phil getting some spotlight. Australia has a massive sporting tradition, and it would be fantastic to see Australian arm wrestling reach its full potential." Completely agree with you, Neil, and hello to you. You've been doing a tremendous job with all of the East versus West and all of the stuff that has been coming out at the highest level with the elite athletes of the world. And as we say, we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Neil Pickup and his efforts throughout the last few decades.
Yeah. No, Neil, I haven't actually. Neil, have we even met in person? I think it's been a lot. If we have, it's been a while ago. But I think Neil needs to come to India next year. Delhi Worlds 2026. Neil as part of the British team. Can we make that happen?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'd love to see him come out of retirement.
Masters pass, Neil.
The funny thing is with
this is a safe place for older.
That's right. But a lot of the people that are key industry figures in the sport of arm wrestling, like Neil Pickup or Robert Baxter, a lot of people don't realize that these guys were elite level arm wrestlers as well. I mean, Robert Baxter was a world champion, like, I don't know, 8 times or something, and Neil Pickup is obviously an incredible champion over in the UK. and amazing things in the sport. But it is always funny when people say, "Oh, look, the guy who's doing the introductions, he used to be like," it's like, yeah, he would destroy you on the table if you got on with it.
Yeah, well, because all the attention is sort of focused on the superstars, right? Especially at an event like East versus West, everyone's watching their specific characters that they've kind of invested in, right? But they don't realize that everyone involved in the sport usually is an arm wrestler. Even the people, who are the referees at WAF, even the East versus West, they're all jacked. Look at Hristo and look at Vali and all of the referees. I mean, honestly, the amount of dudes with ridiculous arms I saw in ref shirts at WAF, and they're all arm wrestlers. They're Kazakh, Uzbekis. They love the sport. They train. They live it. But they also want to give back to the sport. Refereeing, one of those things that we can't do without. So sometimes you got to sacrifice. And our guys are the same. Tom, Dimmy, they all wanted to compete, but they chose refereeing over competing. Which, if they didn't do that, we wouldn't be where.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking with Tom on the show a couple of weeks ago, just after the Over the Top event, and we did touch on the refereeing stuff a lot for the event. He said that unfortunately on the day there was eight referees that lined up that all pulled out for various reasons, but it sort of put them in a different difficult sort of scrambling, and people had to work. They were prepared to, or things. I mean, everyone came together, but it would have been a breast on.
Yeah. Look, there was stresses everywhere on that day, and that was one of the many things that he was doing. It was refereeing. So refereeing was his on the day thing. But once the staging and the production and all that is set up to look like Over the Top, then the referee shirt comes on, and then you've got to worry about, okay, I have to juggle 4 tables. I have to make sure that my referees are fed and that they are hydrated and they get a break. And look, that people are disputing them. The referee's not an easy job. People are disputing calls. They're getting angry. They're getting emotional. You've got to manage all of that as well. So I would hate to be a referee, personally. I've got so much respect for what shit that they cop a lot of the time, particularly on the world stage. It's a tough gig. It's tough to be a referee, but look, we need them to do a great job. Almost very few calls, like on the weekend, to give you an example, Nationals, I think we had 8 complaints, 8 from memory, complaints about matches that were lost. One to Tom, and they looked at the footage, and Tom explained to them what had happened. They understood, and they were sick. But in the moment, they got upset. They got angry. They got emotional. They felt it had been an injustice towards them. But, when we look at the footage and you show them, and you're just very calm, and there's no bias, guys, at all. The referees are biased. And then they understand that trying to do the best to make sure the matches are fair, the competitors are safe, we get an outcome that is professional for the federation and for the audience as well. So it's tough to hit all those things, but the good thing was the competitors did see reason, and they were the ones that did come up and sort of have grievances with some of the calls.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you find it was a little bit surprising with the reaction with Over the Top? It seemed to be that a lot of people weren't prepared for the very strict WAF style of refereeing. So a lot of people that were fouling in referees' grip and movements and loading and all of that sort of thing. And Tom was explaining that the reason that the rules were set in that manner was because if you go to the WAF World Championships, or if you're competing overseas and it's a WAF event, they're going to be that strict, and we don't want our athletes to go over to a world championship and all of a sudden they're like, oh no, the rules are completely different to what I'm used to, because we do it a little more relaxed in Australia. So we did see that a lot of the matches we saw people getting fouled out in that ref's grip unsuspectingly, but I mean that is the rule set that they were provided with heading into the tournament. So there wasn't really any excuses for athletes to be like, oh, I didn't know. It's like, well, it's your responsibility to understand the rule set that you're competing under.
Yeah, look, you're 100% right. That is the reason. And when you go to Worlds, and I just got back from World, I was one of the competitors. I experienced that how strict the referees are. And what I noticed was the Europeans are very good at setting up without any hustling or jostling in the grip. And so the first match I got, for example, was the Russian guy who won my class. And he just went up, the hand was, on the table, no movement at all. And then I was made to feel uncomfortable because I'm, wriggling around. Referees like Australia, wrist, Australia, elbow, all the focus on me. He didn't move a muscle, but he knew how to set up, and he knew that the referees would set. He would be in their hands. So Tom's advice to me after, and I got hammered by this guy, which was going to happen anyway. Tom's advice was that, Phil, let the referees set the grip. Don't fight them. They are there to ensure that you have a fair start. So you fighting them is not helping you, and you're going to exhaust your hand, and you'll get fouled out. And so I've got fouled a number of times, and I learned very quickly, listen to the referees. They are there to ensure a fair start. They're not going to set webbing higher on purpose. It's just people need to get that out of their head. So it's a good thing that we're doing this, because when we go to Worlds next year in India, people will be prepared that a referee's grip means you do not move. And I think that people just don't seem to comprehend that when we say don't move in a ref's grip, we mean don't move. And that's the problem we've had for a long time, is you go from one person to the next, this person suddenly starts moving. And you're like, no. When we move off you, you're in play. Your match has started. You move a muscle, that's a foul. Then we go to the next person. And that's how they do it at WAF. So hopefully, and people are starting to understand that. They are really starting to understand. They're very compliant. Nationals was a good showcase of that.
Yeah, it did seem to make a big difference in short windows of 3 or 4 weeks from over the Nationals, and same sort of referees, same rules, and we saw hardly any fouls, ups and stuff like that comparatively. So I guess that a lot of people that did go along, and it's like, okay, look, when they mean don't move, when they say don't move, that means don't move. So
yeah. We'll call out, Matt, someone who was really good with the refereeing at over the top, Taryn. I know Taryn's in the chat. Taryn got a hard call against, was it Sam Burnett, I think?
Sam, yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough one. And I know I saw the after footage, and it was super respectful. And Tom called him over and they had a chat and explained what had happened. But I did reach out to Taryn after, and I thought Taryn he handled that really well. Match as well. So it wasn't like it was the first round. It was like towards the top 3, I think, at the time. And Taryn looked really, really good. I do really appreciate that. Doesn't go unnoticed when competitors do that, and they show that respect and that understanding, because at some point you get a referee's call that doesn't go your way. And we don't want it to end that way. But I've been on the end of some horrific referee calls in the early days. I had a win. Neil Pickup will appreciate this. I had a flash pin on Danny Tesh twice in the finals of Nationals that wasn't called. And after the photo showed his hand hit the pad, and I'm like, that was like Danny Tesh. Like, these wins can never happen again.
Oh, absolutely. Well, speaking of Neil, he's put another couple of comments in here. He says he can never wrap his head around being seen as an industry figure. I'm a national, European, and world champion arm wrestler in my own head. I'm a lifer, 40 years in this sport. I love arm wrestling. He says back in 2014 at his first Arm Wars event. Let me get that one up there. Is that working? There we go. Back in 2014 at his first Arm Wars event, I spoke to Rowan about doing an arm wrestling version of the Ashes, Arm Wars, the Smashes, Australia versus England, 6 versus 6. It must be a thing.
Oh yeah, I've heard talk of the Ashes, the Smashes. I like that. Yeah, no, Neil, you're a legend of the sport. I've got my memories of Zloty, watching Zloty, as I said before, Matt, like staying up in 2008 and 9 and 10 and watching it all night. Neil was the voice behind that. Neil was the guy. He was the announcer. He was the energy in the room when these epic matches came on. So, and I saw him, Neil's an amazing arm wrestler, but his presence on stage, nobody has the same presence as Neil Pickup does. in the world of arm wrestling on stage. No one. I mean, Jake's amazing, and Jake is our guy. He's our MC, but Neil he's the OG, and he's and how he conducts himself. I always try and channel a little bit of that when I'm presenting on stage, but Neil is definitely my inspiration if I'm presenting.
Absolutely. So Australia versus England, 6 versus 6. What would you want to see, like a range of weight classes? Would you want to see the best versus the best? Would you just not care about weight and be like, let's just throw the biggest people at each other? Or would you want to have a representative for each weight class along the way?
I think what Pro Plunger does is that works well. I think that's a very smart way to do it. So the Pro Plunger team composition, Matt. I think Abhishek's on here, but I'm going to say it's 5 guys, 3 girls, and a para athlete, or something along that, a mix, and that's their team across different weight classes, maybe. But that composition I think works really, really well. It's very inclusive, but maybe that's the.
Absolutely. Well, Taryn Broad is just responding to your comment there. He says, I think my match with Sam was one of the last matches to face Gary in the final. I thought the call was BS, but I wasn't going to be disrespectful the refs in person or on social media. Well, we appreciate that, Taryn. It is, as you heard right there from the horse's mouth, Phil Rasmussen, the president of the AIF, is very happy with your decorum and the fact that you were able to accept the call and explained it from Tom. That he's probably going to bring a comment up over and over here because I had some issue with my thing and I clicked it like 50 times. It's probably going to keep coming up on the screen. But so it was very appreciated as to your behavior there. And New Cup says, cash win, that's phenomenal.
Hey, he used to get beaten in the early days. Just the myth of Danny built over time. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like you get those kind of calls, and you're like, you just have to roll with it, move on. It'll get forgotten anyway in a week or so, and then you're on to the next event.
Neil Cup says, myself and Phil could pick the athletes and matches to make the most even matches possible. Absolute 50-50s is where the sport is at its best. 6 to 8 matches.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the UK has some incredible arm wrestlers.
It's just so far away, Neil. You guys are so bloody far away from Australia. It's like literally the furthest place on earth. The UK. We need a middle ground to meet.
Maybe in India.
India, yeah. Delhi. Let's do it there.
Yeah, so we were talking before about people not realizing the figures in the sport are actually quite elite arm wrestlers. You being the president of AIF, and you happen to pick up a national title on the weekend.
Yeah, that was unexpected, Matt. That was I wasn't even going to jump in, to be honest. And look, you run these events, and you there's a lot of moving parts with over the top and nationals, and I was just happy that it all, it was all working. The AV looked good, the venue was all good. So I jumped in. My arm was a bit sore from Worlds because I after pulled with all these dudes who I have no business arm wrestling. The top and that really stretched out my tendon. So I jumped in, and it's funny. The match I got was a young guy called Franco from the Sydney Spartans, and as I saw him, he was a big guy, solid, muscular guy. And then Oz said, "Oh, this guy's really good, Phil." I'm like, "Don't tell me that first match." And so I walk up there, and I felt this guy's hand, and I'm like, "Oh, the last thing you want in a massive draw is a really hard match, first match." And so I grip, and for some reason I try and top roll him, and I lose the first match. And I walk off thinking, "Why did I jump in this draw? I've now first match. There's a very real chance I come last if I lose the next." And so then I had a little chat to myself on the side and said, remember what you did at Worlds. And I won the next 9 matches in a row. and I won a national title, and I beat the guy who beat me in the first round. I got revenge on him later, but a lot of it comes down to, with the newer guy, intense and experience and your starts, and I'm sure Neil will attest to that. If you've got a hyper aggressive, sort of almost violent start, and you put the person on the back foot within the first split second, it's a huge advantage. Obviously, if they're stronger than you to that degree, they could negate that. But good starts and WAF starts where you go to referee's grip and all the pressure is taken out of the grip. Once the pressure's out, it comes down to reaction speed. And I definitely favor that style of arm wrestling where there's no load. I can just use that neurological reaction to get the hit. That works for me. So I was able to get back to the finals and win it. And look, my saving grace wasn't there. So Gary Kuznitsky unfortunately had an accident, a car accident, and he's okay. He was doing okay, luckily, but he couldn't compete because he was in hospital in the morning. He won over the top, and he rightfully is the 90-kilo number. He beat Sam Burnett. He beat Jay Tev. I don't think he beat Gary's amazing. So had Gary been there, we met, I'm sure, somewhere near the finals. But and look, Gary's just incredible wrestler. So he's coming to Worlds next year, whether I have to drag him there myself. He deserves it hard, and I'm just so happy that I was at the age of 48 that I'm still relevant with these younger guys. That half the fun for me is that I can still swing with these dudes who are in their prime, because for me, everything hurts. I'm sure Neil's the same. I can't really arm wrestle every day. Like everything hurts and it creaks, and yeah, I've got to be very careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It seems to be one of those sports that it's always like your wrist or your shoulder or your back or some area like here is always hurting. There's something going on. This muscle's hurting. That's the thing. But it is part and parcel of the sport. But we've got Neil Pickup here. He's got a genuine question. Has Phil had an opportunity to get Tom Haviland on the table at all? And if so, does he have any longer term interest in the sport at all?
So Tom and Devin were going to pull at least many months ago when I first lined up over the top, and that was one of the big exciting things, have Devin and Tom pull in any capacity. My private was perfectly fine, even with no cameras. I didn't really care. I just wanted the two guys to touch hands. They would have got us just as much, from that experience as each other. But I had tried Tom in the end. I think there could have been a personal life going on. Tom just went fairly quiet on me as Over the Top got very close, and then I had no luck getting in contact with him. And that was it. Devin was here. Devin and I chatted about it. We were in the car, sort of. Tom actually lives in the North Coast in the hinterland, so we were driving through that area, Devin and I had said to Devin, Tom Haviland's sort of out and about in the bush here, and he's not a inconspicuous guy. So, and it was a shame because Devin was like, should I call him? And what do we do here? But at the end of the day, I respect that Tom, obviously, for whatever reason, didn't reach out once Devin got here. And it's a shame because I think they would have both loved that experience. Yeah, to answer Neil's question, I don't know. I haven't heard any interest from him since then.
Yeah, I think Ryan Bowen had a similar experience. He just start with, and then it sort of faded away. But I mean, that's the way it goes.
Look, I've arm wrestled Tom Haviland. I think I might have told you, Matt. I used to work next to him in Brisbane, so that's how I got to know. Him, and you don't miss this guy walking down the street, right? He's showing some basic techniques. So that goes back a little way, and that was before he sort of went big on Instagram and went big on YouTube. He was just a massive unit who was doing some incredible things in his gym, and he loved arm wrestling. He would watch it, and had a huge interest in Levan and Devin, and so that's why it was a shame that couldn't align when Devin was here.
Oh, absolutely! It would have been tremendous. If anyone who doesn't know who we're talking about, and humongous use this insane feat strength, sorts of just barnyard equipment and picking up engines, and but he never shows his face, and in any of his videos, it's always shot from like the back, and you can tell this dude is like a fridge wide, like he's an enormous man, but he
I think Neil's dreams would be Tom Haviland versus Danny.
There we go. We back. We are back. Okay, great. We swapped places for some reason, but that's all right. We got there.
I was going to say Neil's dream match is Danny Tesh versus Tom Haviland.
I can only imagine, absolutely. Taryn Broad says he didn't get to pull Gary, so I'm going to have a super match with him next year for number 1 under 90 kilos.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well, again,
it's
been an absolute
What's Hamza got to say about that, though?
Well,
Hamza's,
yeah, Hamza is an incredible arm wrestler. I think he is. I don't know if he's sitting in the under 80s and happy to stay there, or if he wants to go the under 90s. But him versus Taryn would be a fun match. Although when I've seen them together in training in like practice starts and stuff like that, Taryn's been able to contain him. So I think he would be the favorite in that if I was a betting man.
I would like, so Hamza, I'm very keen to get to Worlds next year, Matt. He will be a very good prospect in the youth class, like Hamza at 80 kilo, or if you can do 75, Hamza in the youth division will be very competitive. He'd be my best pick for a medal from Australia, to be honest. The guy is just, against Taryn gets the better of him. Hamza's a competition puller. He's a guy that in that moment, he can channel an immense amount of in his hits, and that doesn't always translate to training. There's something that clicks when you're in a competition, and it's like do or die. You have to win this match, and you can channel these massive hits. Hamza's one of those guys. He's exceptional in competition format.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Taryn writing back to that says, Hamza won't pull me because he said I hurt his wrist and then I smoke him, but he would say that even after beating me.
Can I just say to Neil as well, I just saw that comment on the fix. Would be honored, Neil, to go.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Is he running the fix at the same time we're doing our show?
No. He said just a couple of comments down. He'd like to invite onto the fix over Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, we'd love to do it, man. That'd be fantastic. I don't know why it's not coming up on my side. Maybe he's just talking to you. He's like, no, you shouldn't have said that out loud, Phil. Now Matt knows about it.
No, he said the word both is definitely there.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome. Well, there you go. So what do we got coming up for AAF next year? There's state titles in each... there's a state title in each state throughout the year, and then it leads up to the national tournament. I think we're kicking our one off with February, I believe, is the South Australian AAF event. Yeah,
French is going to be all over me any moment now about that. So she's really good. She's been super enthusiastic about having a South Australian event, sourcing the venue, getting the ball rolling, before nationals and even taking place. So she's really well organised. So off the rank, and then we will have throughout the year meat stock. We have 3 meat stock events as well. And we have the World Championships and Nationals. So Worlds will be October 10 to 20, call that correctly, in Delhi. So we'll finish out with Worlds, and then Nationals will be after.
Oh, fantastic. So, huge year. It does seem to be that the arm wrestling community and the sport itself just keeps growing year to year. And we're seeing that with the amount of competitors that are turning up to national competitions, to state competitions. We're seeing super matches all over the place, people very keen to climb the ranks. We're seeing young guys that could have the opportunity to go into other sports, choosing arm wrestling instead. And that's one of the things that excites me most about the future of the sport.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt on a world level, the number of people who are finding arm wrestling now who know. I was shocked. At Over the Top, I had friends who have nothing to do with arm wrestling. They're school friends. Their kids came along, their young kids, because they wanted to meet Devon. And I was like, "How do your kids know Devon? They're like 9-year-old kids." But they find him on YouTube somehow, and he's got these thing, the mountain, and because you've got these larger than life characters, kids gravitate to that. So you've got these, and it's a sport that, it's a simple sport. It's a very simple sport, which is why it should be in the Olympics. It's a very good spectator sport in terms of you can understand a winner and a loser from arm wrestling very easily. It's you win or you lose. And it happens very, very quickly. So I think we've all done it. So it's always going to have that base level appeal that we all have done it. We just need to change the perception that it's a barroom hobby or a barbecue hobby to it's a world level sport. That's obviously the main.
Absolutely, it does seem to be that the people that I talk to when I meet them for the first time, and they say, "What do you do?" and I talk about arm wrestling. It used to always be, "Oh, is that a real thing?" I didn't realize that was a real thing, but now it's probably 50-50 where I get, "Is that a real thing?" or "Oh, I've been watching this tall Canadian dude who used to be in the special forces. I don't know what his name is," and it's like, "Is it Devon Larratt?" And they're like, "Yeah, I think that's who it is."
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah. You
tremendous
need
to see.
characters. You definitely need characters.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Well, again, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, mate. We might look at wrapping things up here, but what's the very next thing for AAF? It will be the South Australian state titles. Is that the next thing for you guys?
Yeah, look, we'll do some club barbecues. We've got a lot of clubs in Queensland, Matt. I think there's probably 12 clubs or something
Yeah.
ridiculous. So we just do a big end of Christmas thing in Queensland, and then have a bit of a break and come back, and then South Australian Championships we'll get the calendar out in January, guys. All the updates as to what's coming.
Sounds good. We've got a comment here from Neil Pickup, says Sunday the 28th of December at the normal time of the fixed show is 9:30, which is 8:30 for us, I guess, in Sydney. We can book it right in. We can book it in right now if you guys are game.
Yeah, that's 7:30 for me, which is horribly early, but I'll happily get up for this.
I would be honoured to be on the show as well, Neil. It would be an amazing experience, and especially to be on with a fellow Australian wrestler of the caliber of Phil Rasmussen would be a privilege. All right. Well, thank you everyone in the chat for tuning in and your comments. And we're seeing some big things happening in the world of Australian arm wrestling. And the man on screen in the interview throughout today has been a spearhead as to why we are seeing the growth and the success of the sport in this country. So thank you, Phil, once again for joining me on the show today.
No, my pleasure, Matt. Thank you for having me on.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.